4:07. Hayley Walsh is a spokesperson for Just Stop Oil. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme, Hayley. So talk to us a bit about eco-anxiety and what you see, how you see it represented in children in particular.
So the first thing I would say is I can really speak only from my perspective as a mum and as a lecturer working with young people, and I would definitely say it's a factor causing anxiety, causing worry. Our children are aware that something is happening. We're in an age, unfortunately, where our children have been born into an age where there will be climate collapse, or they face a huge risk of climate collapse. And of course, it's prevalent in the social conversation. They're seeing images of floods in the UK. They're seeing images of wildfires on the news. And for me, it's my responsibility and my duty to be able to guide my children through difficulties, to be able to build resilience in them, and to know that I can help them navigate challenges to come. So I think it's really important. We've all, unfortunately, parents in this age have all had to navigate those difficult challenges around hard conversations about scary situations. Going through COVID, we've all had to face that, right? We've all had to go through that situation. And I think what is really important for children is not that they're shielded from there being risks. We've got children who are savvy, they're technologically engaged, they can find out information. We need to be able to show them coherent, cohesive advice. We need to be able to show them that, yes, we might face danger, but we can tell you the truth. And for me, that's what's important, is to tell them the truth,
So
to tell them how to approach this, and to tell them how we can protect them. And really, that's what we need from our government. It shouldn't be from Greenpeace, although it's great that Greenpeace are doing this. It should come from our government saying, this is the truth, this is the situation, this is how we will navigate it as safely as possible.
Can I ask, as part of this coherent, cohesive, truthful advice, do you tell your children or the children in your care, the students that you lecture to, do you tell them as fact, to use your words, that they are born into an age where there will be climate collapse?
I talk to my children about the science behind the risk of the climate crisis, obviously in an age-appropriate way. I have children that range from 17 to 4, so there are very different conversations depending on which child I might be talking to.
Yes, of course, but that is your starting point for laying out the truth of this, that your children are born into an age where there will be climate collapse. So
maybe not in those terms, but talking to them about an age where there is great risk from climate change, and that we as citizens have a responsibility to kind of take an active role in trying to change and trying to protect that.
I agree, but you said that they, and I'm only quoting you, that they were born in an age where there will be climate collapse. That is hyperbolic, isn't it? I mean, what do we mean by climate collapse, and is it inevitable that that will happen whilst your children are alive?
Well, we're seeing evidence of the climate crisis right now. We've seen it in the wildfires in California. We're seeing it in the floods that we've seen in the UK. It's not hypothetical that we are seeing the impacts of climate crisis.
Yes, but is that not climate collapse?
Our governments don't get on with their job and start to act and start to make change and start to cut the ties with the fossil fuel companies and the lobbyists that they are pandering to at the moment, then yes, we will face climate collapse. And we're seeing the evidence now. Multiple tipping points that have been identified by top scientists have been passed. I think it's time we stop pretending this is a debate. We are at great risk, and we need our governments to protect the people.
But do you then say, if your point to your children, and I admit, I totally understand that you're not going to put it in these terms to your 4-year-old, but if you start from the premise of saying, children, you are born into an age where there will be climate collapse, that is not a particularly hopeful viewpoint from which to start a conversation about the things that can be done in order to mitigate the effects of that. If you're saying, kids, basically, this is all over bar the shouting, that's going to worry them.
Anybody's saying this is all over and that there isn't hope, and actually I would counter that by saying what climate activists and what organisations like Just Stop Oil are doing is working in the service of that hope. We're saying there is possibility to change. It's just that we need our leaders and our governments to get on with it. We need them to do their job and protect us. So it isn't that I'm saying there's no hope. Of course there's hope. I see enormous hope for resilient, strong, supportive, fair and just communities if we actually get on with tackling the issue that we have in our society at the moment, that all comes from our governments pandering to big corporations, to greedy lobbyists and to the fossil fuel companies. And we can see the impacts of that far beyond climate.
Okay.
There's huge wealth inequality issues in our society.
Well, that's not climate collapse. I mean, that might be true, but it's not climate. So do you think that the part of the issue here is, you talk about big corporations. So there are some very big corporations who the government is essentially providing taxpayer-funded seed capital for their solar wind projects in Lincolnshire or off the coast of this country. Are they part of the issue too, as part of the big corporations that are leading to this climate collapse?
About the big corporations that will lobby for business as usual to continue, that will say that they need tax breaks to continue with fossil fuel exploration, or that they need tax breaks to be able to control influence in the government. I'm not saying that we shouldn't support corporations in making more environmentally positive changes. Of course, we need to support that. But what I am saying is that the government stance where they're prioritising this myth of economic growth to save everything isn't solving what we need for ordinary people. And yes, this isn't about climate collapse per se, but it is, of course, all interlinked. All of the economic issues that people are facing right now, there are 14 million families in poverty, according to the Roundtree report.
Right.
They need the resilience, they need the help,
sure.
and we need a government that will prioritise all of our well-being, and it is all linked together. So we need to be able to have a safe home. We need to be able to know that our future is protected. We need to be able to know that we've got the services we need when we're in a difficult situation.
Just final question from me. If your 7-year-old says, Mum, the world's going to end, I'm worried that the world is about to end because of climate collapse, what would you say to them?
I would say confidently that it doesn't have to be that way. Yes, maybe people are frightened by that, but actually there are plenty of solutions that are available to us, and I would be confident in being able to talk them through that. And I think the important thing for children is knowing that adults are telling them the truth, and that when something is scary, they know how to protect them and they know how to navigate it. So that is what we need.
Very good to talk to you. Hayley Walsh is a spokesperson for Just Stop Oil. 03456